So back again with the Mega CD, or SEGA CD. In the previous video we didn't get the drive to spin up. So I ordered a new drive, it arrived in the middle of the week, and then one night after work I decided I'd try it out. I didn't have much expectations of getting it working, and I had no idea what music was on this disc. So, following on from our last episode, we didn't get the drive to spin up. So as you can see from this mess here, that pad actually lifted. And I think it probably lifted soon after I put the whole unit back together. So you probably can see it there. I've scraped away by the trace beside the pad and attached a wire, which is crudely going to one of the legs on the capacitor, without some serious magnification, some epoxy and some thin copper foil. I won't be able to repair that pad. So I think that's kind of the extent of the repair I'm going to be able to do on that. So I think there are bulk capacitance for the two kind of packages here, these Toshiba guys, which I think is memory, if I'm not mistaken. So they're bulk capacitance, and on the other side is of the PCB are two surface mount capacitors that are more for kind of ripple decoupling. And yeah, so I've beeped it all out, and that should work. It's an ugly fix. There's not much I can do about it, because I'm not sure about the other remaining pad. By right I should have really put some heat shrink around that, but to give you an idea, this is, I'll just poke it, this is actually quite small, and it doesn't look it there, but it's small stuff. So it's not a great repair. I might put some Kapton tape around it, but even then, I'll have to cut it to a custom length. So this is our original drive, the one I've been messing around with. I must label it up. But yeah, earlier on we checked the switch, it was fine. This is the switch here that basically tells the Mega CD if the drawer is open or closed. These 3 pins are common, tethered together. This pin here, basically I've written it down. I'll show you the little note I made. So if we look here, so there's our pins there, and here's the way I've written it down. So when our drawer is closed, these become connected to tell the drawer is closed. When it's open, the bottom ones become connected. So I buzz them out and the switch is working. So when it's open, these two get connected, and when it's closed, these get connected. I assume they're using 3 here just for mechanical reasons. It's a bit stronger. Yeah, so that's the switch on the JVC drive. Quite different from the Sony drive. But I was putting this screw in. I'll show you. I was putting this guy in, and I get it so far, and it just spins. And you probably can see it already. This drive was dropped. So this drive has probably never worked. And another thing I noticed about it, if I flip it over, and get some light on it. If you look at the actual head itself, it's kind of at an angle. Yeah, this was definitely a parts unit. Yeah, I mean that should be going straight across. I don't know how well it comes out there on the video, on the camera rather, but there's an angle and should be flush. I was cleaning the other one with a cotton bud, just dipped in alcohol, just rolling it like that on the lens, and the lens was moving up and down. But if I push on this one, you know, this definitely got a knock. I mean, there's zero movement there. I mean, you can tell by the kind of funny angle it's at. But yeah, you know, I'm pushing pretty hard there. It should be moving. You'd never push that hard on a working laser. But yeah, you know what, maybe this drive would work if I replace the laser. I don't plan on doing that. I plan on having this as a parts drive, because I don't know what else was damaged when this was broken, because we can see that, you know, from the broken boss for the screw and a few other bits and pieces, you know, this is tons of parts that I can use to keep the other drive up and going. Would be cool if I could get this one up and going again and maybe sell it on, but recoup some of the cost. But I think it's probably wiser to keep this as a parts drive. So guys, I'm lucky in a sense that I ordered this replacement drive. Again, I probably paid too much for it, but this drive seems, you know, I've labelled it parts only there. I think it is only parts. You know, there's a lot of SMD parts in that are probably not easy to source, so I'll have spares for this drive should anything ever happen to it in the future. I might even tear it down further, inspect the motors, see if they're working, stuff like that. Yeah, that definitely took a fall. So this one's marked as working, 2020 I've written on it, so let's get this one back in and fire it up. So it's pretty late at night, but and I'm just in the middle of putting the working drive back in. But yeah, tomorrow when it's brighter, I have more light, I'm going to desolder the BIOS and get a socket in there, and we'll get a new BIOS chip installed. We'll go for a uni BIOS. I haven't decided which one yet. We'll wait and see. Whatever's the best, I suppose we'll go with that. Is the most compatible and all that. So I've got the OSSC set up, a copy of Final Fight, my 8-bit DO controller. OBS is ready to record, and I've got it up on this screen, so let's fire up the Mega CD. And I'll just hit RGB here. Alright, so eject. Okie dokie. Let's pop in our disk and hit start. So I'm going to start recording. Alright. Yes. Sweet. So we've got the console back out on the workspace. What we're going to do is open it up, take out the old BIOS chip, socket in there, and put in a new BIOS. So I won't record me opening the console. We'll jump to having this thing set up and ready to solder. So I've got the board out. You can see our original mask ROM here. I've already managed to get a little bit of solder that I wicked off the kind of fingers on this edge here. So I'm going to tape that up before I start working on it, just to protect it. And before I put it back in as well, I want to check the voltage on the battery here. I'm sure it's dead, but yeah. If it is reading, around 2 volts or even lower, probably no volts, I'll just take it out while I have the board out, because I don't have a replacement right now. But just while I have the desolderer set up, it might be worth taking that out. So, sorry about the noise, I'll play some music over this, but I'm going to start with this side before I get to the ground side. That way the desoldering station will have heated up to kind of exactly where I need it to be. So I've checked all these, kind of moved them with the tweezers to make sure that they move before I go trying to pull the chip off. Reflowed some of them and kind of desoldered again. Glad I used the tape. As you can see, there's a bit of a mess. That'll stay on there until I'm finished putting the socket on. So I'm going to take the chip out now. You can kind of hear it starting to give up the ghost now. Yeah, it's coming up there on that side. Let me do this end. There we go. So let's have a look at those pads. So you can see it was gripping on some of those. Like this guy here. This guy here. It's okay, that's just a bit of old solder. But what I'm going to do now is, while I have this off, is clean it with some IPA on both sides. So I'm just going to check the voltage on the battery. So yeah, that's way down at 1.74 volts. So I'm not going to remove it at this stage. I don't have a replacement for it yet. I'll probably try and put in battery socket or something like that. But yeah, we're going to leave that for today and come back to it at another time. So I was all ready to break out my programmer and get my EPROMs out and start programming a BIOS chip for Mega CD. But then I started looking into things a bit more. So the smallest EPROM I have, you can see my cheat sheet here, it's a 27C 400, 512K kilobyte. Problem with that is this series of EPROM I use for cartridges, game carts. I have other EPROMs here, but mostly they're like the main EEPROMs I have here are all for cartridges. Because I don't have a 27C 1024. I have it in a different package, but they're for kind of motherboard BIOSes and things like that. They're not really for the Mega CD. It's the wrong package type. So I started looking into it, and you can see here on the right hand side we have the 27C 1024. And on the left, we have 27C 400. So if you look at the pins, VCC and ground are, well, ground appears to be on the right, the correct pin. But VCC on the 1024 is on pin 40, and on the 27C 400 is on pin 21. So they're not pin compatible. The grounds are in the right place, but that's about it, really. Now, I could rewire this on a little bit of perf board or just lift the legs and kind of juggle the signals around, but that's the kind of messing that I really don't like to do. So for now, until the right chip arrives, I'm just going to put the old SEGA EPROM back in, the original EPROM back in. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know what? I'd rather wait and do things right. Another kind of maybe good thing about this is the Mega Drive from Hell, the original kind of release Mega Drive, is the one I plan on using with this Mega CD. And it doesn't have any region mod done to it yet. So I have other Mega Drives that I have region modded, but I'd really like to keep this with the high definition model, the Mega Drive from Hell model. I just think it's kind of fitting that someone tried to destroy that Mega Drive and really abused it, and the fact that we brought it back to life, and not only that it's going to be paired with a Mega CD, a Mega CD that coincidentally was stripped for parts, had really bad corrosion. Someone had just chucked in a broken drive into and sold on eBay as sold as broken. So it's kind of irony that those two would be paired together. And it's a nice combo. So yeah, we're going to put the original EPROM in, or MASCROM rather, in for now. Now I did kind of try to clean the legs on this, get some of the solder off it. Areas that were close to kind of capacitors and that did have like a funky smell. But yeah, I'm going to try and straighten as many of these pins, any of the ones that might have got bent in the process of taking it off, back. So that's the original MASCROM in there. It's in nice and snug. And I'm just going to start putting it back together, put the cans back on. And yeah, since I'm going to be waiting for a 27C 1024 chip to arrive, I may as well order another battery for it. Now, whether I go with like these kind of solder in job or put like a coin cell holder, I think the coin cell holder might be the best way to go. So as you guys can see probably from here, I have like recap 2020 beware C46, just to let anyone know that that dodgy capacitor just down in there exists. It's probably going to be me if I live long enough in another 30 years to go in here and recap. I don't expect this kind of note I wrote here to last. It's probably going to wear off. So yeah, a sticker. So cool. Let's get the top back on. So I've got the OSSC and OBS ready to capture. Mega CD and Mega Drive back in their place. So I'll just flick this on. Yeah, we're going. Excellent. So it still works after my Operation Get Socket for BIOS, even though we don't have the BIOS chip. So we got to the bottom of why the original drive wasn't working. I have some EEPROMs, the 27C 1024s, ordered. I have a laser on the way, coming from China, won't be here anytime soon. And I'll also order some batteries off RS online. I'll probably get 2 or 3 just to have them for a game. I haven't decided which version of the BIOS I'm going to put on. It'll be just one multi-region BIOS. I'll probably go with one of the 60Hz ones. If any of you guys have any suggestions on which is the best BIOS to go for, please let me know in the comments. So in the next video, we'll get around to fitting the battery in the BIOS. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll chat to you all again.